Welcome back, Captains, to another Infinite Galaxy video. This is Dragothian here. Today we're going to be going over some things. We have a big patch going live in Infinite Galaxy tomorrow for the majority of the Nebulas out there. I know that some of the Nebulas have already gotten this update. Unfortunately for Nebula 12, we were not one of them. So we got an extra week to kind of prepare, having seen what some of the other Nebulas have gone through. With having this major, huge patch put into the game. And I wanted to give you guys kind of what our group of alliances have put together as far as things that we can do and things that you can do if you haven't gotten this patch yet, to understand what's coming and to utilize it the most effectively. So big changes coming, obviously, with flagships, with dual flagship capabilities happening, huge resets with commanders, with crew members, with flagships, with everything. So there's going to be resets for all those things to adjust what you have in the game to utilize this new patch the most effectively, and updates to a lot of the PvE content when it comes to increasing levels of different things that you do on a daily basis to continue to grow your account in Infinite Galaxy. So without further ado, I'm going to roll through some of the things that my friend Nigel here has gone through to try and help everybody take the most effect from the first day of the patch. And again, the majority of you should probably be in the same boat, since there was only a select few Nebulas that got the patch last week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Number one, it's talking about the simulation center. So the idea is the patch is going to be after reset. So you want to make sure that you're not going through all of your rotations for your alliance for the simulation center as well as the tactical training center, because you want to take advantage of the upgraded levels of both of those things. So instead of doing them right at reset, like what we usually do them for about 30 minutes to an hour after resets. And that works great because everybody's usually on doing their update things, collecting all their daily goodies, and they go ahead and send their CSC fleet to the rally and we're good to go. But with the update being after the reset, it's best that you wait until the patch is actually completed before doing your daily CSC and training center runs, so that you can take advantage of it day one instead of having to wait for the following day. And again, with our group of alliances that we've got in Nebula 12, we have a lot of people to go through this with. So we have a lot of folks that need to go ahead and get on this new schedule that we're going to be putting out. Feel free to use this on your own alliance. It's just something that's been working for us, so that everybody can have access to the CSC bounty that you get. That's one of the best things that you can do in the game every single day, is join that rally twice. Go ahead and get that thing rolling. So there will be no reset CSC. We'll utilize 13 and 19 UTC runs. Reason is because, again, it gets raised to level 12. You don't want to waste the runs early, which is what I just kind of went through. Now, number two, don't do your tactical training center again until after the patch, not after reset, but after the patch. Again, max level is 12. You don't want to waste the 2 daily runs. Number three, pirate levels will go up to level 35. So if you are that far into the game and you're maxed out on your pirate levels right now, you might want to wait, because again, the rewards may be substantially higher from level 31 to 35 instead of the maximum that you have right now. So again, don't waste your energy if you can get something more value, more bang for your buck. So that would be the idea there. Just wait to do all your PvE stuff until after the patch. That's going to be the way to go. And then again, going forward, you can go back to your normal routine, or again, you can augment it based off of what works for you and your alliance. Number four, don't rush on the flagship and crew reset. This is just a good generic suggestion because, again, everything's going to be popped into the game after that patch is done, and you're going to be like, oh my God, there's so much stuff to do. And just start going crazy on it. Think it through, guys. There's no one right way to do this. When it comes to dual stacking your flagships, when it comes to which commanders you're going to be using or crew members you're going to be using on your flagship setups, also your equipment, your outfitting, you need to make sure that you're using the right stuff, stacked with the right dual flagship setup, stacked with the right dual crew member setup. You need to make sure that you're choosing all these things carefully. You want to start planning that stuff out now, so that when the time comes, if you do need to do a crew reset, if you do need to do a flagship reset, you're ready to go. Take it slow. It's not going anywhere right away, okay? You've got to take the stuff slow. You don't want to completely eliminate something that you needed down the road, because it's not usually like for like what you get back. It's a little bit reduced. So just kind of keep in mind as you continue to do this, be careful and don't just rush into it. You want to make sure that you have a plan and you go through that plan, whether it be resetting all your cruiser stuff to frigate or vice versa. Again, that's a big piece of what's coming in the new patches. They've reworked the way that the warship mechanics work, where instead of frigates going after frigates right off the bat, frigates start going after cruisers, because that's what they're best at. That's what they're best at taking out. So the mechanics of things are going to be changing. You can use these ships a little more effectively to anti-flagship somebody else who maybe go full cruisers. Maybe you want to go full frigates, and you're going to be able to take or give a lot more damage and be more survivable with, say, an Artemis or something like that, combining with an Orion or combining with something else that will help improve your stats. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have the same like for like when it comes to these dual flagship pairings, because the skills work. A lot of these skills are universal. They are reduced damage taken ratios. They're increased to health and shields. They're increased to armor. There's warship bonuses on some of these skills. They're not tied to any particular warship type, and they're not tied to any particular damage type. So you have to kind of think about it. It's not as easy as just pairing the legendary with the epic version of the same ship and calling it a day. There may be some better setups out there, so you might want to start looking at those. We'll be doing some testing, obviously, on this channel to give you the best pairings, the best crew member pairings with the best flagship pairings, the damage reports that come along with those, and all that good stuff. Number 5, we will have new battle mechanics. I just talked about this. Dual flagship fleets that will require a lot of testing to figure out optimum setups, so be patient. Again, this patch will change everything, okay? This patch will change almost the entire way the game works from a fighting standpoint. So you need to make sure you're being careful. Don't just have in the back of your mind it's always cruisers or bust, because that's basically what the game has been so far. It's cruisers or bust. The Brontis, the Cyclops, it's all day, every day. That's the best thing to have. And that may still very well be the case after this patch, but we need to do the testing to see how the other ships and the other warship types have been affected by these changes in the game. Number 7, you need to rethink your captain assignment and crew setup with dual flagships and captain bonus. This is good information. And captain bonuses count towards the fleet. So that means anything with your crew setup and your captain assignments and the bonuses from those captains, they all apply to the whole fleet. It's not just to the flagship that it's on. It applies to the whole fleet. You'll need 8 captains because you can do dual flagship fleets, which means each flagship will have its own captain that will also affect the entire fleet. Kind of understand that, wrap your head around that. It obviously can only be gold or purple. So again, there's a limited number of gold and purple, or epic and legendary crew members that you have to choose from when it comes to becoming captains. So, and again, remember, when you put a captain in a flagship, they can't be on your crew member slot. They can't be on your crew setup. So kind of keep that in mind whenever you're dedicating a crew member to be a captain. You want to make sure you're doing it because the captain bonuses are so good that you want to have those bonuses on a flagship or a fleet, a particular fleet, versus having them in the crew setup, which would apply to everything. So again, consider that before you reset your crew and give thought to what you want to have going on. Now, dual flagships, you have to select a primary flagship, of which everything costs towards the fleet. You also have the option to select a secondary flagship. All skills except the first weapon skill are applied to the fleet. Again, we just talked about that earlier too. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And you also have the ascendancy, or the expertise, whatever you want to call it, skill on each one of these flagships as well, which I will go over once the patch is live. I'll give you a rundown of all the different special skills that all the flagships have. Those will apply towards the fleet, not just the one flagship. The secondary captain skills are also applied to the fleet. So everything from the captains and the flagship skills apply to the fleet. So effectively doubling up your stats, doubling up whatever it is that you pair up with, okay? Only leadership is capped at 50%. So something else to understand when you're talking about stacking up leadership commanders, you can only go, or leadership flagships and crew members, you can only go so far. 50% is the cap. Gear of the second flagship only applies to the flagship itself. So the gear, the outfitting of that second flagship only applies to the flagship. So it does not apply to the overall fleet. That will help you in certain situations, but not in main open field, rally, etc. situations. So you have to understand what applies and what doesn't. Okay, so that's a big deal. These are just tips. Again, these are tips for you to prepare for what's coming tomorrow in the game, which is one of the biggest patch drops, game-changing drops in this game so far to date. It's still a fairly new game, but it's starting to really flesh itself out. We've got Nebula versus Nebula fighting coming. We've got tons of certainly events every single day to keep up with. Tons of different things that you can do inside the game to go ahead and get yourself prepared. And with this patch, it's even bigger. So really looking forward to this patch dropping tomorrow. I really hope this little tip section has been helpful for you to get prepared for that patch tomorrow, because really, again, this is going to be huge. It's a game-changing event. So make sure you're prepared, make sure you're ready, and don't rush it, folks. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one, and take care.